Now, the Denver Broncos had high expectations last year going into the 2022 season. There were many people in the national media who picked this team to win the AFC, make it to the Super Bowl. They were expecting Russell Wilson to have a fantastic season, and everything that could have went wrong, and then some. And like I said, they made an all-time big mistake when they traded for Russell Wilson and gave him that hefty contract, and it was going to take an all-time great head coach to fix this mistake. And you have Sean Payton. And if Sean Payton is able to fix Russell Wilson, how good will the Denver Broncos be this season? If Sean Payton can get Russell Wilson playing back to the level that he was when he was playing for the Seahawks, how far can the Denver Broncos go this season? And they don't even need Russell Wilson to revert back to his old form. They just need Russell Wilson to be 80% of what he used to be. If Russell Wilson can end up bouncing back this year, are the Denver Broncos Super Bowl contenders? Or are they a playoff team? Or are they even capable of making it to the playoffs at all? They had a lot of injuries last year. The offensive line was not good. Russell Wilson was the most sacked quarterback in the NFL last year. They revamped the offensive line. They signed offensive guard Ben Powers. They brought in offensive tackle Mike McGlinchey, who was a pretty solid starter at that tackle position. And this receiving core is still amongst the best in the NFL. You got Jerry Jeudy, Tim Patrick. He got injured. You got Cortland Sutton. You got a really good receiver that you drafted out of Oklahoma. And this tight end group is really good. And Sean Payton, remember what he did his final season in New Orleans. He went 9-8 with several different quarterbacks. So imagine what he can do with Russell Wilson at least playing at 80% of what he used to be. And Russell Wilson still has it in him. I saw a couple of games last year when Russell Wilson had some vintage moments when he was rolling outside the pocket and finding guys open downfield. He had a really good performance the final game of the regular season against the Los Angeles Chargers. And I don't think Russell Wilson has completely fallen off the cliff. You also got to remember, when you play for a bad head coach, he's going to bring down the performance of the whole entire team. With an offensive mind and Sean Payton, who's regarded as one of the best to ever coach this game on that side of the football, he's going to be able to elevate Russell Wilson's play. And if the Denver Broncos can get Russell Wilson playing at a solid or at least a high level this year, this is a team that potentially not only could make it to the playoffs, but they also are capable of being able to make a deep playoff run. People forget that this team was a lot of people's Super Bowl favorites for a reason. They still have a really talented roster. They lost a couple of guys in free agency, such as Draymond Jones, which is going to be a huge loss. The interior of their defensive line is probably going to be a big question mark that many people have going into this season for Denver. But outside of that, this is a really talented team. And in terms of where they're going to rank in the division, I think they're going to finish second behind Kansas City. Sean Payton is a way better coach than Brandon Staley. And Josh McDaniels? Come on, man. The Raiders are probably going to be in the conversation for getting Caleb Williams. The Denver Broncos, if Russell Wilson is able to get fixed up and retooled and rebuilt by Sean Payton, this without a doubt should be a playoff team. And they potentially could be a dark horse Super Bowl contender if Russell Wilson plays even better. You got Javonte Williams coming back. He was hurt last year. This defense, you still got Patrick Surtain, amongst the best cornerbacks in the league. You got a really good secondary playing alongside of them. You got Vance Joseph as your defensive coordinator, one of the more respected DCs in the game. And Sean Payton has assembled a really good coaching staff. If Russell Wilson bounces back, the Denver Broncos should, without a doubt, be in the playoffs. Now, will they be able to compete for Kansas City in this division? I don't know if I'm going to go that far. They could. I think they got a better shot than the Los Angeles Chargers and the Las Vegas Raiders. And the AFC is stacked, but if you have good quarterback play. You don't need great quarterback play when you have a head coach like Sean Payton, because he's just going to be able to elevate the whole entire team. But when you get good QB play, you're going to be able to make it far in this conference. And the Broncos should be able to get after the quarterback on the defense side of football. Those are two of the most important things when it comes to winning in a stacked conference like the AFC is right now. You got superstar quarterbacks like Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert in your same division. You got to be able to get those guys off the field by being able to get pressure on them. You also have to be able to get good quarterback play that's going to be able to keep you in games. Russell Wilson, I don't think he has to go back to what he used to be when he was playing at an MVP caliber level for the Seattle Seahawks, but I do believe that if they can get 80% of Seattle Russell Wilson, Denver should be a lock for the playoffs. Now, can they be contenders? I think there's a small chance they can be. We forget that not too long ago in the distant past, although a lot of Broncos fans want to forget it, many of you guys believe that that was going to be the year that you won another Super Bowl. You thought that Russell Wilson was going to be the answer, and he didn't look like the answer last year, which is why you brought in Sean Payton. Sean Payton is getting paid a lot of money to be able to rejuvenate Russell Wilson's career. He is getting up there in age. He's in his 30s. But I don't think he doesn't have anything left in the tank. I just think that him and Nathaniel Hackett weren't a good fit. Russell Wilson wasn't a good fit in Nathaniel Hackett's system. Nathaniel Hackett, he's a solid coordinator, but he's not head coach material. He couldn't manage the clock. He just wasn't good overall when it came to managing late game situations. With Sean Payton, you have an experienced head coach. This is the best head coach that you've had in a very long time. Vic Fangio wasn't really a good head coach. He was a solid defensive coordinator, but he wasn't cut out to be a head coach. And a large reason why Denver has been down so long is because you've whiffed that head coach and you whiffed that quarterback. You bring in Sean Payton, who's going to fix the head coaching problem, and he should be able to get Russell Wilson playing back at a high level. And if you are somebody who's going to play devil's advocate, and you're going to say, JT, how do we know Sean Payton's going to be able to rejuvenate Russell Wilson? I mean, just look what he did his final season in New Orleans. He won 9 games with Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston had the New Orleans Saints on top of their division. They were 5-1 prior to losing to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, in which Jameis went down with a season-ending injury in that game. Prior to that, Jameis Winston had a 14-2 touchdown interception ratio, which was the best in the NFL. Jameis Winston was not only playing his best football, but his most efficient football under Sean Payton. He had also had to start Taysom Hill, Ian Book, Trevor Siemian, and was still finding ways to win games. So if Sean Payton can do what he did in New Orleans during his final season with the Saints, I'm pretty sure he should be able to find a way to fix Russell Wilson. That's why I have so much confidence in Sean Payton's ability, because he has a proven track record of being able to generate good offenses and being able to get fantastic quarterback play. Before Drew Brees went to the Saints, he was a cast-off from at the time, the San Diego Chargers. And although he was a Pro Bowler before, people were thinking that Drew Brees was kind of done after that. They didn't think he was going to be a future Hall of Fame quarterback. He probably could have become a good quarterback in many people's eyes back during that time. But if you were to tell many Chargers fans that Drew Brees was going to be a future Hall of Famer, they probably would have laughed in your face like you were crazy. Sean Payton is one of the greatest offensive minds to ever play this game. You don't got to have faith in Russell Wilson, but you definitely should have a lot of faith in Sean Payton and what this man does on the offensive side of the football. The Denver Broncos, if Sean Payton can work his magic and get Russell Wilson playing back to somewhat of the level that he used to be able to deliver, I think that Denver ends up making it to the postseason in 2023. And I think that at worst, this should be a team that should be competing for the 7th or 6th seed in the AFC.